Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mike Colleen at MikeColleen.com. The game ends here now. This is how you end the game completely, no matter how deeply you are in it right now. You stop caring. The minute you stop caring, the game ends completely. Alright, so first of all, what I want to do is I want to thank some people who've been donating. Now, this video might come out about 10 days later, so it might seem long. So if you make a donation and I don't thank you like the next day or two, it's because I already have a list of 10 or more videos that are already uploaded, that are set for certain dates. So they'll come out down the road is what I'm trying to say. So number one, I want to thank everybody who has subscribed. I want to thank everyone who has donated, made a comment, and clicking that like button. But guys, remember, when you click the like button, it makes that narcissist go nuts. And the other thing that makes him go nuts is seeing all the subscribes. Alright guys. Alright, so I want to thank a few people today. I've already thanked David and Mary in another video. Should have already come out. It's going to come out soon. Now, the people I want to thank today, I want to thank Julie. I don't want to, I think I say, yeah, so Julie Marsh. This person I know, I'm not going to say their last name. Colin, and it's because of a story I'm going to share with you today. And I also want to thank, it's called Local Niche Marketing. And what is his name? Let me pull him up here. Hold on. Alright, so Niche Marketing, that is Don Endress. Hopefully I said that right. So I want to thank all you guys for your donations. The donations have been coming in really, really well. I really appreciate it. Even though my channel did just go over 4,000 hours, I still have to set the whole thing up to get ads and commercials and all that stuff. So that's going to be down the road a little bit. So for right now, I do want to thank you guys for making donations. And for those of you who want to make a donation, if this channel's made a difference in your life, again, please don't do it if you're not comfortable, you don't want to do it. Only do it if you really want to do it, okay? There's a link to PayPal. If you just go in the description right below the video, there's a PayPal link about halfway down, and just click on it and make a donation or send to a friend or however you want to do it. Alright, so here Don's talking about my Narcissist and Advanced Word Salad video that came out probably about 14 days ago from this video. I enjoyed watching your video. Narcissists use advanced word salad technique to destroy you. Now I can see them in the moment and I know what is happening. When I start to feel that knot growing in my stomach, and yes, it's open loops that bog you down like a computer with too many apps running. Keep up the great work, Don Endress. Number one, thank you, Don. I appreciate that. Number two, so the main goal has always been what you wrote. You said, now I can see them in the moment and I know what is happening. That's what it's all about, is to get you people to see the pieces that they're using. Now, the reason why I can understand this is because of what I'm trained in neuro-linguistic programming. It's about how communication affects your emotions, and that's what narcissists are doing. They're using really twisted communication to affect your emotions. The other part I liked is how you said, and now I know what is happening when I start to feel that knot growing in my stomach. So a lot of you are really becoming very intuitive. You're listening, like, what is that feeling? Why do I have that feeling? You start listening to the person you're talking to. Oh, this is a narcissist. All you have to do is get up and walk away. Just don't even say goodbye. Just leave. Okay, so one thing, okay, here's the number one thing. This is what you need to look for. States of fear. All these people are doing is they're trying any and every way to put you in a constant state of fear. And yes, they are doing it on purpose. So let's end one thing right here. If you're around someone and you feel panic, you feel anxiety, you feel like you have to talk fast, you feel like you're up in your head and like you have adrenaline going, get away from that person. Here's the deal. You don't have to know what they're doing. You don't need to figure it out. All you need to go, man, my body is like not comfortable around you, so I'm done. And I wouldn't even tell them that, because all they're going to do, oh, no, it's all in your head. And or it's all this, or oh, I think you're a little paranoid, or you think you're, they're going to say some bullshit is what I'm saying. So here's the deal. Just get away from anyone that you don't feel like you can relax and be yourself around. If you feel uptight, if you feel nervous, if you feel scared, if you're panicky, if you can't sleep at night, so get away from them. Okay, so the music is going to shift in a minute here to kind of mellow things out. So one thing I would like to do is, okay, so their number one goal is to put you in a panic/fear state, okay? That's what they're doing. So now it's simple. You need to just start looking for that, okay? So I'm going to give you some stories and examples, some that just came across to me yesterday. In fact, 3 of them are in the last 2 days. All right, so this one was a young man that I was coaching years ago. He's about 27, 28 years old. And we went someplace and we ended up at this it was actually the bay, so the water bay, right? I live off the bay here, okay? And out of the blue, he goes, "Are you scared?" It was just really weird, like why? It's like nothing was going on, like nothing had happened. He's like, "Well, like a mile up there's like gangsters," and I'm like, "Yeah, so like I don't understand." And he's like, "Well, are you scared?" I'm like, "Why would I be scared?" Like, I go, "Dude, you're not making it." I knew in that moment, like, oh, this guy's trying to put fear states in me, okay? So from that day forward, I started listening to everything he was saying, and it was all about fear and danger and dying and attacks, and I just looked at him like, you know what, dude? You gotta tell him my life, we're done. Alright, so I picked this song because I really kind of think it's time to mellow out. Alright, so just recently, in the last 72 hours, I've had 3 people contact me or message me on the YouTube channel. Okay, well, actually one of them. The other 2 I talked to on the phone in person, okay? One of them, we actually did a session. Alright, so here's the first person. I think it's real important for you guys to see this because you're going to start seeing that they're doing this stuff on purpose. So Maria said, essentially, thank you so much for this video. It's about the narcissistic word salad, and she referenced where my ex-girlfriend in my 20s, when I was asleep, would whisper really fucked up things, excuse me, but really messed up things in my ear. And she did it like every night for a while. Okay, so now this is what Maria shared. Then she said, this reminded me of something that was going on with me. Okay, let me pull it up right now. Alright, so she said, I get this from my spouse, and when you spoke about your ex that whispered in your ear while you were sleeping, that is what I realized my spouse is doing to me. He uses his phone, though. I never ever thought of it like this, the way you said it here. What he does is he puts certain programs on, and most are violent episodes. And she goes, I don't know why he likes watching those, but of also couples fighting. Sometimes he would play a specific sentence or word over and over and over while the phone is close to my ear. I unfortunately did not realize why he did that, but he always says, "Oh, sorry, my hand got a bit tired." And then she said, so in other words, his hand got tired, and he kind of let it like fall over and put the phone right next to her ear. And she said it creeped me out, and I only started taking note recently of these odd things he does. I'm still okay. I'm not waiting for that. All right, so the thing that a lot of you are beginning to realize is, yes, absolutely 100% they are doing all of this stuff on purpose. There's no doubt about it. So, I'm going to read to you what in a funny way that I wrote back to her. But in my case, personally, I would actually do this. Now, you guys don't have to do something like this. So let's see okay, here it is. So I said, okay, I'm going to say something funny, and I know you're not in this space to do something like this, but what I would do, especially if I made it really clear as to what they were doing and they didn't stop like you did, I said the next time they did this, lower the phone while some violent movie was playing, yelling and screaming bloody murder, etc. I said I would suddenly grab and this is while she was asleep, by the way. I would suddenly grab their phone, jump out of bed, and throw the phone as hard as I could and slam it on the floor, brick wall, or a hard door to smash it. Then I'd just go back to bed and act like I'm sleeping. And when they say, hey, what did you do that for? I would then say, oh, did I do that? Yeah, I don't remember. Yeah, I have this thing where when people put their phone in my ear at any time, day or night, where my body just reacts. It just grabs it, then slams it into something super hard to destroy it. My doctor says it's some kind of natural inborn self-defense mechanism. He says it's totally natural, so no worries, it's all good. Okay, so I would literally, and I'm right here, so I would gaslight the F out of them. Apply to self, meaning what they do to you, apply back to them. Meaning the gaslighting. Oh, did I do that? Well, my doctor says, just some bullshit. Then if they try to say I broke their phone, I would say, what phone? I don't remember that. That never happened. It's all in your mind. I don't know what happened to your phone. Maybe you broke it in your sleep. I mean, you do have a real issue with your phone in your sleep. Sometimes your arm gets tired and it throws it all around. Remember? You told me that. This will drive them insane. This is literally what narcissists do to us, by the way. So I wrote, if they bring it up again, say, well, why are you so obsessed with this phone thing? What's wrong with you? Move on. Get over it. Change the subject already. I heard you the first time. Get it? So just keep messing with them, just like they've been messing with you. Now, me personally, the first time I broke their phone, I would just tell them to get the hell out, or I would move out. Now remember, narcissists only deal with willing victims. When you take their phone and you smash it and you refuse to pay for it, and you just, well, I didn't do that. I think you did it in your sleep because you got that crazy arm, remember? You just completely ignore it. Like, I don't give a shit. So here's the deal. What you're doing is you're adding pain to what normally would bring them pleasure. So all of a sudden, like, well, wait a minute, I can't get away with shit with this person. It's like, no, I will punish you severely, and you will finally get like, oh shit, I can't get away with doing this stuff to you. Nope, you can't. So here's another one. This is a really sad one. I'm not going to go too in depth, but essentially, someone I spoke to, someone who's on our channel, by the way, she was married, and her son had died. Or no, I think she might have just been, I don't remember if she was married or not, married or in a relationship. And her son had died a while back, and it was pretty bloody. I'm going to say that. I'm going to leave it at that. And so what this guy ended up doing was he would suddenly buy a bright red jacket, and then he would constantly play horror movies where people were getting murdered and, just horrible shit, right? And she was thinking like, well, why is he doing this? And I would tell him, like, I don't like watching those kind of movies. It's, it's not, because she was in a really bad place because of all this stuff, right? So here's the deal, people. Yeah, he bought that red jacket on purpose to bring up trauma. It's like to constantly trigger you. Yeah, he's playing these violent movies knowing that your son died in a very violent way, in a very bloody way. Yeah, they're doing this shit on purpose. Now here's the deal. Yeah, the person's a narcissist, and of course he came in with the love bombing. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear about what happened to you. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear about your son. Like, they're going to be this loving, supportive person, and they're not. And then what they do, they play dumb, like, well, I don't understand. Like, why does this movie bother you? Why don't you just get over it? That was like 9 months ago. That was like 2 years ago. Blah, blah, blah. Here's my point, people. Narcissists look for people like this. They love to push your buttons and make you hurt. That's the whole goal. I'm going to give you another story from someone else that I just actually coached him. We did a phone session yesterday about this time. Well, it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon right now. So here's what happens. This guy is an artist. He's very successful. He's famous in his world. And another artist that's jealous, is severely harassing the shit out of him using other people, flying monkeys. So one of the things they've done is they have a bunch of people going after him on Instagram, etc., and they're basically calling him a coward because he's not responding. And he says, "Oh, you're yellow," because in the old days, you're yellow, which means you're yeller, which means you're a coward, right? And so now what they're doing is they're leaving yellow cards around, yellow paper around his house and his entryway, and doing a bunch of really disgusting things late at night. And so when they get in your mind like that, all of a sudden you see yellow everywhere, and you think like, well, are they fucking with me? Are they doing that? So yeah, when it came to the cards and the paper and the stuff that they put at his door and on his lawn, and yeah, of course they're doing that stuff. So they connected this to the Instagram, and they had a bunch of different people, and all of them had this yellow stuff, a yellow color all over the place, and they were harassing him. So it's their way of letting him know, like, yeah, we did this, we're here, we're watching you, etc. So here's the end game. All right, do you guys remember the Matrix? Do you remember wherever Neo went, all of a sudden, like there'd be an agent or somebody he was talking to would be just a normal person, and then boom, they turned into an agent, and they would fight him, and then all the other people would turn into that agent. I can't remember the name of the agent, but then they would all attack him, and he's fighting off all these different agents in those suits. This is essentially what is happening, okay, to all of us, okay? Some of us we're outside of the tunnel, okay? So I'm going to give you the 3 steps, okay? So the first thing, when you realize what's going on, you put up the Great Wall of China. You begin to develop boundaries. So when you're alone for 1, 2, or 3 years and you're scared, you feel like you're in darkness, you're actually finally developing boundaries. And you go through a phase where like you don't want to deal with anyone. You don't want to open up to anyone. You go to work, you come home, and that's about it, okay? Step number 2 is part of it is the anger and frustration. Like you go through this anger phase, this frustration phase, you want to get revenge. Now this is part of the ego phase, okay? And then you go through a depression phase. So this phase number 2 is the self-defense phase. This is why a lot of you guys like my channel, because I'm saying, hey, fight back. So this is the development part. So the number 1 development part is you have to build up boundaries. Most empaths don't have boundaries. And narcissists are boundary crashers. They're like the opposite of us. Now here's the thing. They don't have boundaries either. They just, people who have boundaries respect other people's boundaries. Okay, they don't tend to crash over them. They tend to stay in their own space energetically, physically, and verbally. So the next phase is you as an empath, one of the biggest weaknesses we have is we never develop the parent side. Again, as I said in the past, you've got the child in you, you've got the adult, which, you know, you take care of things, you get the work done, you do your homework on time. But then there's the parent side of you. The parent is the one that stands up, that says, hey, this is not acceptable, this isn't allowed. They're the one who approaches the principal or the teacher saying, no, you're wrong, you're doing my child wrong. So the parent in you right now is being developed. So essentially, this is the fight back and stand up for yourself phase, okay? Now, there's another phase, and this is the phase that ends it all, okay? When I was talking to that guy, the client yesterday, I figured out a better way to explain it, okay? And I'm going to do it right now. So what you have to do is you have to get to the point where you literally just don't care anymore. You just don't. And this is what will happen. Like after they harass you enough, you're literally like, I just don't give a shit. Like it becomes a part of life. And then boom, one day you're like, yeah, I don't care anymore. Yes, sometimes it rains. Sometimes it's hot. Sometimes it's sunny. Sometimes I go to the beach. Sometimes I don't. It's not a good or bad thing. It's just like, this is just part of life. And all of a sudden you stop caring. Okay, I'm going to explain it a little bit more. So, this guy was getting harassed severely by a lot of people, okay? And he was in a panic state, so I had to take him through some breathing. We had to calm him down. We had to kind of, reverse. So here's the deal. Remember, the number 1 goal of the narcissist is to get you to lower that artery in the reptilian brain. And that means you're in fight or flight, okay? Which means you're not using your larger human brain. Now, this guy's artwork is amazing. I was like, wow, that is amazing. Now I will, if you're listening to this video, I will put a link to your website if you want. I don't know if you want me to do that though, because of your situation. So this guy's gone to the cops multiple times. He's got things on video, and the cops are like, well, because we're in California, and he's like, well, cops like, well, what do you want us to do? It's like, there's not really much I can do, because California right now is the wild, wild west. It is like Gunslinger City. It is bad everywhere. But even then, even if they arrested all these people, it would come back in another way from someone else or some other group of people, because there's something that's going on that it's exactly like the Matrix. So you have to remember, they feed off of your energy. So when you're in a state of fear or panic or anything like that at all, that's what they feed off of. That's how they get their source, their energy from you. So there's a bunch of techniques that I teach. In one of the videos before this one, I was talking about meditating, stretching, deep breathing techniques, meditation, etc. What these do is they open up that artery. But something else has to happen, and this is the third step that I'm alluding to or getting to right now, is you have to get to a point where you literally just don't care. You just go completely neutral. You completely let go. And that is when it all stops. Now let me explain a little more. So I said to him, I said, okay, so I explained the Neo and the Matrix and all that, and even Lawrence Fishburne, his basically Neo's, his mentor, the black guy that was teaching him and training him, was trying to explain, like, hey, stay calm, stay neutral. I can't remember the exact words, but that was essentially what he was trying to get him to do, because otherwise it goes into everybody, okay? So let me read it off here right now. Okay, so the third step is you want to then go, so first step is Great Wall of China boundaries. Number 2 is anger, frustration, depression, self-defense. You finally stand up for yourself. You fight back. Number 3 is you stop caring. So you have zero care. I mean zero. You're neutral. You completely let go. All right? Now here is kind of the tricky part. It's not really tricky though. Now, because we're empaths, we want people to like us, okay? And that is what they grab onto. So I said to him, I go, so would you prefer if these people actually liked you? He goes, well, yeah, of course. I go, and that's your problem. That's why they're still doing this. He goes, what? I go, the reason why they're doing this is because inside you is this want, this feeling, this desire, like, let's make friends. Let's work this out. How did one lady say it to me a while back? She said, well, let's come to reason. Let's reason this out. And here's what I said. So she basically said, like he wouldn't reason with me. I'm like, reason? I go, what are you talking about? She goes, what do you mean? I go, you're not dealing with a human being. And she's like, wait, what? Now this is a different lady. This was from a while back. I go, look, you got to understand, you're not dealing with a human. You're dealing with a predator. Now, a lot of you hear that, oh yeah, they're predators. They go to jail. No, you don't get it. I'm literally saying, you're dealing with someone who has a mentality of a predator. And that, I shouldn't even say it that way. No, you're dealing with an actual real life predator. So I said, would you go out on the Serengeti in Africa and walk up to a lion that hasn't eaten for 3 days, a 500-pound vicious lion, and say, hey, let's sit down and let's, come to reason. Let's talk about this, Like, I don't want you to eat me because that's not very nice. And look, the lion's going to look at you like, what the fuck? Like, what is this? Like, they're going to look at you like you're the goofiest thing on the planet. Like, dude, I'm hungry. Your food. I eat food. Hello? It's like telling birds to stop flying. Like, what are you doing? Why are you flying? Like, come down here. Let's come to reason here. And they're like, what do you mean, why am I fly. That's what I do. Now, what is it that these predators want, though? So I asked this guy, I'm like, well, did they try to kill you? He goes, no. I go, did they beat you up? He goes, no. I go, did they do? He goes, no. I go, yeah, because it's not a physical thing. It's a psychological, mental thing. They want to feed off of your fear. It's an emotion. Fear is literally energy, and they can suck the energy. So the minute they can get you into a fear state, it's literally like pulling up to a gas station and grabbing the pump, and they put it into their car, their gas tank, and they suck the energy out of the gas pump. That's what they're doing to you. So as long as you react, you're going to go into a state of fear, and they're going to suck the energy out of you. I go, do you feel exhausted? He goes, oh, I've been feeling exhausted for I think he said a year. I forget how long, but it was a long time. So this is why they're constantly trying to create fear states, is because that's the only way that they can feed off you. They have to get you into any kind of negative emotion, fear, panic, confusion, doubt, even depression. So here it is, right here. Okay, I'm going to give it to you right now. Listen close. So one of the questions I said, would you rather have them like you? He goes, well, yeah, of course. And then I explained that, the predator thing. And I said, well, let me ask you another question. Would you like for them to be nice to you? He goes, well, yeah, of course. And I go, that's why they're holding on to you. Because that's the thing about empaths. We want people to be nice to us. So we work really hard to smile at them, to do nice things to them, to make them like us. And that is where you're fucking up. So the minute you literally stop caring if they're nice to you, if they like you, the minute you literally I don't mean fake it or act it, but I mean the minute you're like, yeah, I just don't, it's like you don't care. It's like you walk down the sidewalk. Do you look down at the sidewalk and like, hey, do you like me? Are you nice to me? No, you just walk on the sidewalk. You don't think anything about it. The minute you get there is when this whole thing stops. All right, look, you are essentially going through training right now. You are becoming Jedi Masters. I'm serious, at the very least, Jedi Warriors. All of this is about getting you out of your ego. So fear is ego. So when you go into that small part of your brain, you get stuck, you get narrow, you get stuck up in your head, you're in a state of fear. And it's just, okay, remember the movie, okay, let me find an image of it. Hold on. So this is the ship that they would get on in the Matrix, the first one. It's called the Nebuchadnezzar, which is it's funny because it's a name in the Bible, which I'm sure it references something in the Bible. The Nebuchadnezzar, I think I said that right. And right here, it is electrifying. It has massive electric power. It's shocking the shit out of all these bad things that come after them, right? So they're shocking that, catching them off guard, and they're like, holy shit. And it's killing all these things. So that's what happens when an empath goes supernova. Like, you just literally shock the shit on them, and they can't deal with it. Now, I couldn't find a better picture, but there's an image where they go all the way down. They kind of go around in this, I don't know what they're in, like a city or what, but in this big spaceship, and then they go all the way down. They turn everything off, and they say, be quiet, be quiet. Because when you're quiet, these drones or whatever that's trying to find them can't find them. But if they make noise or get scared or bang something, then boom, they all come after them. So essentially, when you get really good at calming yourself down, and it's literally like you just get to a point where I don't care if this person's nice to me anymore. You just don't care. It's not even like you're fighting it. You're like, yeah, I don't care. So suddenly they have nothing to hold on to. So there's a movie coming out, because I saw the preview of it, and I can't find it. I did, because I don't know the name of the movie. I just tried to search for it. But essentially, everybody's like The Walking Dead. Okay, it's not The Walking Dead though. It might be a sequel, but I don't think it is. I'm not sure. And people, you have to walk downtown through the cities with no emotions, like a narcissist. Okay, and when you have no emotions, everyone, all the other beings don't mess with you. But the minute you smile or laugh or show emotion, boom, they're like, oh, there's one of them, and they attack you. Okay. Just like what's going on with you right now. So yeah, these movies are trying to teach us something, okay? They're not just happenstance on accident, all right? So here's the thing. You can show emotion. You can be happy. You can laugh, etc. The only thing, though, is you can't show fear. You can't feel fear, okay? That's when they come after you. So the reason why you want people to like you, to be nice to you, is because you're afraid they're going to be mean to you. And that's why they're mean to you. You turn them on. Boom. Okay, so one thing we know about even dogs, wild animals, even horses that are tamed, that have been born in captivity, had loving families and all that stuff, they could be the most loving, nice horse on the planet. It could be a deer, it could be a tiger, it could be a pit bull or a dog. Is one thing I learned at a very young age. My dad's like, Michael, don't show any fear. Just stay calm, stay peaceful, and you'll be okay. And I was like, what do you mean, Dad? He goes, well, if an animal can sense that you're in a state of fear, they'll attack you. I was like, why? He goes, that's just the way they are. This is why some people can go out in the wild and walk up to a wild animal, and the animal feels very comfortable around you. Like, I'm one of those people, especially when I'm very emotionally grounded. Now, becoming emotionally grounded it's a combination of healing your energy and also learning techniques on how to physically and ground your energy. So boom, you become emotionally grounded. When you're emotionally grounded, animals love you. I think I've told you guys a story where a mama deer, I was out at the park it was late at night, 2 o'clock in the morning or something like that, maybe even a little bit later. And I was all by myself walking through the park, and this deer comes jogging over with its little tiny baby that was probably 2 or 3 months old. And it stopped about 6 feet or so in front of me, and it took its paw and shoved its baby down, and the mama stomped on the ground twice and looked at me. It was really obvious the mama was trying to tell me something. I'm like, well, like, what's going on? So the mom, I verbally said, I literally said, like, well, like, what's going on? Like, what do you want? And all of a sudden it turns around and it runs. I'm like, what the hell is this deer doing? Leaving its baby with me? And it runs about 100 plus yards away, and there was a coyote hiding in the bushes that I didn't see. And then it went all the way around the building onto the far street, and it was gone. I'm like, well, what do I... So I figured, like, the mama wanted me to wait to protect the baby. Okay? Do you know how much faith and trust that mama deer had to have to leave her child with me late at night like that? So why? Because at the time I was very emotionally grounded in that moment. I was very clear. My energy was calm and peaceful with clarity. Another time I went out to that park, and I went up on the cement thing that kind of went up into this entryway into this court area, and I was meditating. And about 20 minutes later, this mama duck and papa duck, male and female ducks, were walking by my left on this path, and then the mama duck curved around to the right down the path, and then it came up the cement pad thing, like entryway that I was on, and it went right next to my leg. I mean, about a foot from my knee, or less than a foot. I could have leaned forward and reached out and touched it, and it fell asleep. And it laid down, and it fell asleep right next to me. Now, the male duck walked up and stayed about 12 feet away, and it looked at at his mate and looked at me like, well, what the hell is this? So when you're in that space, it's like narcissists won't mess with you. They're just like, oh, okay, well, there's nothing to grab onto here. Now you have to remember, it's like a training program. It's teaching you to get out of that state and to go to the higher level, to get you out of the crab bucket, so you go to the higher level of consciousness. And that's what this is really all about. It's really saying, hey, it's time. You need to go to the next level. You got to stop going up and down, because that's what empaths generally do. They go up, they go down. You need to be like, no, I'm going up and I'm letting go of the lower level. And that's why all of these attacks are happening. It's why this whole narcissist abuse thing is going on. Because you'll notice after a year, 2, 3 years, you start getting strong. You don't know what it is. It's like you have boundaries. And that's what is happening. Like, well, I've got boundaries. Like, you get to a point where you're like, no, I'm not going to lower my boundary to you because you're not a nice person. And that's one of the things empaths used to do. We would be nice to people that were mean to us. No, once someone shows you that they're an enemy, that they're going to hurt you, that they're attacking you, that they're belittling you, gaslighting, lying, cheating, stealing, and all that bullshit, you're like, no, sorry, bye, you're out of my life now, and you cut them off. Your cut-off game has to be excellent, meaning boundaries. Like, no, I don't allow this kind of behavior in my life, period, end of sentence, and you cut them off. So you walk and you block, okay? You've got boundaries, number one. Number two is self-defense, standing up for yourself. So if they come back after you, if they come and hoover you, they come harass you, if they step on your grounds, that's when you speak up, that's when you get in their face, that's when you call the cops, that's when you do what you have to do. That's the parent role. The final step is when you legitimately just don't care anymore. I'm gonna give you some examples. So there was a guy at Safeway. He's a security guard there. Okay, he's kind of a short little guy, kind of dumpy, to be honest with you. And I'm not everyone. I would say most people there like me now. Now, when I first moved to this county, it's a very liberal area, and they don't like blonde, blue, broad shoulders, square jawed, all American types. I got harassed for the longest. I'm talking 20 years, and what the hell's going on? So very political. So after this narcissist abuse thing that was going on 3 years ago, it was like I just put up my boundaries to everyone. I didn't give a shit. My neighbors, people that just lived down the way, and they were like, oh shit, I guess he's not talking to us. Like, no, I don't give a fuck about no one. I am done. I'm not playing games with people. And what ended up happening, my boundaries became so strong, people would like, oh, okay, I guess we can't do that to him. And they're like, no, I don't give a shit. But it wasn't just a boundary. It was like literally I could walk down the sidewalk right next to him, right past him, and I didn't give a shit. I stopped giving a fuck. What I used to do is try to say hello to everyone. Hey, how's it going, man? Or try to nod and, try to become agreeable, become reasonable, to reason with them. And every time it was like they would just look at me with this fuck you look or treat me like shit or do some fucked up thing. This went on for 20 years, 21 years. So the lockdowns basically went away, and we started going back to the stores, and there's a new security guard, Safeway, grocery store, and I'm like, what is this guy's deal? Because some of the other people knew me before, and there was very few people there that liked me. But then all of a sudden it began to spread. Now more and more people, and the people that didn't, I just stopped giving. Listen closely, this is it. I stopped giving them any attention at all. So now, all of a sudden, this is a great place to go. Everyone's cool to me, and the people who aren't cool to me, they stop fucking with me because I just stopped giving them any energy at all. So what ended up happening was, here I was laughing with all these other people that worked there, and people were like, hey, what's up, Mike? What's going on? And these other people felt kind of left out, so now they started treating me nice. Well, this started spreading everywhere I went. And all of a sudden, this entire area that used to fucking hate me, now everyone's nice to me. And I'm like, well, what's going on here? So the security guard, at this point, I literally didn't give a shit. I didn't know this guy. I didn't give a fuck about him. And I was like, no, I'm done trying to get this guy to be nice to me. And that's what it was. I was trying to get this guy to stop being a dickhead and being rude and give me dirty looks and fuck you. He would literally turn his back on me the minute I'd walk in, right? And so I'm like, well, why is he nice to other people? Well, it's like, that was the thing. Like, he was nice to other people, but not me. So all of a sudden, I just walked right in. I didn't even look at him. I just didn't I'm like, well, who the fuck is this guy? This guy's nobody. I don't give a shit. So I just walked in, boom. And the same thing happened at Target. So it was with these two guys that I saw it. Because at this point, I had a lot of confidence. I just, let go of caring what people thought of me. And that was the thing with most people. Like, whoa, like what's going on? Like, you could just see it in their eyes. Like, I just don't give a shit. And so there's this guy at Target, and a very typical empath me is he was kind of slow. He's very much overweight, 6 foot, and got this scraggly beard, about 30 years old or 28 maybe. And he basically gets the shopping carts. He's just not a happy guy. So I realized, no one says hi to the guy, so I tried to say hi to him a couple times and try to be nice. This went on for about 2 months. And finally one day I was like, fuck this motherfucker. Because normally I wouldn't, because I felt sorry for the guy. But I was like, fuck this, I'm just done. So I remember one time I walked right by him and he's like, oh shit. Because he would always give me dirty looks when I'd say hello. He'd never say hello back. I'd nod and, hey, what's up? And nothing, man. And all of a sudden I was like, oh fuck, I'm so done. Because you know what it's like when you go through narcissist abuse and now you're dealing with all this petty shit, and all of a sudden the petty shit was nothing. You're like, fuck that. And at this point in my life, I had literally cut a lot of people out of my life. I cut them out of my phone. I blocked them. I just didn't give a shit. And so I was like, oh fuck this guy, whatever, man. And all of a sudden he would stop and look at me like, oh, aren't you going to say hello so I can give you a dirty look in return? Nope. I just kept walking. Then I was in the store one day and he just kind of looked at me, kind of smiled. And I was like, okay, that's weird. I said, whatever. I just walked out. And then another day he kind of nodded and smiled. And I was like, I don't give a shit. And I'm like, wait, what's going on here? Now he's treating me really good. So that guy that with the yellow cards and stuff that was really getting harassed, I explained all this to him. I said, look. So the first one was like, do you want them to like you? He's like, well, and I'm talking about the people that were harassing him. He goes, yeah, of course. And that's so funny because only an empath would fucking say that. Anyone else would be like, fuck no, fuck those motherfuckers. So then I said, after I explained all this, I'm like, well, so do you want that? Would you prefer that they were nice to you? He goes, well, yeah, of course. I'm like, and that's where they got you. One of the things I teach in my course is how to really become internal, to bring your awareness down inside your body and expand to the space around you. Most people go from their forehead out, and it's like you take your energy and you invade that other person's bubble. Everyone has a bubble around them that's about 16 to 18 inches or so. And there's actually a law that you're not allowed to step inside someone's space. I think it's 13 to 15 inches or 15 to 18 inches. It's literally a law, and it's the same energetic physical space that energy healers talk about. So this is the main advantage I have over pretty much everyone, is I have this very core internal space and energy, and I'm very grounded. I never reach out to people with my energy anymore because it's fucking rude and people don't like that. Okay? So there's a series of techniques that I had to learn how to do. Someone had to work with me, condition it into me, etc. And now I teach this to other people. So when you're trying to get someone to like you or trying to get someone to be nice to you, you are essentially reaching out. You're basically telling them, I want you to be this way to me. And their response is, fuck you. Who the fuck are you? Are you my king? Are you my slave master? And that's what empaths don't realize. Even though you want someone to be nice to you and like you, it's still controlling. It's manipulative. It's wrong. You've got to let go of giving a flying shit if anybody likes you or not. And here's the funny thing. The minute you do that, it's like you gave them their freedom. You gave them their freedom to be who they are. Isn't that what you want in return? Well, here's the really weird thing. The minute you give them their freedom, you get yours in return. So the minute you stop wanting them to be nice to you, the game ends. And that's it. So the reason I show this lady from The Matrix in the red dress, which is kind of a famous scene, it's a training program that Neo's going through, and Morpheus is walking him through this. So he sees this really beautiful blonde in a red dress, and he turns around, looks behind him, and he's staring, and Morpheus goes, hey, did you hear what I said? Or were you looking at the lady in red? And then Morpheus goes, go ahead, turn around, take a look. And bam, next thing you know, that lady in red is now the agent with a gun pointed at his head. So the minute you come out of consciousness and go back into your smaller part of your brain, your ego, everyone turns into the Agent Smith, and now they're attacking you again. And that is what this entire thing is about, learning how to be expanded, how to be internal, and let go. It's like you just let go of control, let go of fear, let go of everything, and then boom, everything becomes peaceful again. So yes, this is the number one core piece that I work with. It's funny, but I do it with men who are trying to meet women, because if you're in that panic state, you're in your ego, it turns women off. When you're emotionally grounded, boom, people want to talk to you. People open up. And okay, hold on, watch this. Do you guys remember that video I made a while back where I say the reason why narcissists rage on you, get so angry at you, is because here's why. Because for the most part, empaths are very open beings, okay? And then what happens is when people get around you when you're open, they open up too. With a narcissist, they open up and like, whoa, what's going on here? And they look inside themselves, and also they become very aware of their fear, their anxiety, all the shitty things they did to people, and on and on and on. And then they freak out and they start screaming at you to close up. So now when you close up, now they can close up. So that's the video where I explain how we are unconscious rapport gaining machines where we try to match each other so we can communicate better. So that video came out. Okay, so let's see here. That video came out on August 25th. So the image says you trigger people because you awesome. And the title is, why do people get so triggered around you? Destroying narcissist abuse. Okay, so that's that video if you want to go back and watch that. So essentially, the way you end this is by learning how to be conscious and emotionally grounded. The minute you do that, these things don't come around. Like, it's like, the Nebuchadnezzar spaceship, it's like it had to hide and get really quiet so they couldn't pick up on it. It's just like with a dog or a horse or a tiger. If they sense fear, they're going to come after you. But if they don't, they're just going to come up and rub up against you, and they want to be petted, and, or they'll just go along their own way. So here's what happens. If you can open and stay open, even when a narcissist says something rude or mean, devalue you, it's like they can't close you down, and they can't be around that, because that means eventually they're going to freaking pop open. And there's nothing worse for a narcissist than to completely pop wide open and be revealed to themselves. They cannot freaking do that. They will get away from you. They will leave you. And that's essentially what happens. So what that means is you can be happy, you can enjoy love, be a loving, kind, compassionate, loving, happy, excited, joyful person from consciousness. If you do it from that space, they won't bother you anymore. So yes, you can be happy. You can enjoy your life fully and completely once you learn how to do this. Alright people, I hope this video made sense to you. It's a long video, I'm so sorry, but I couldn't make it any shorter, and I knew it. So I hope the video made sense. And yes, I do work with people. This is what I do, not quite on a daily basis, but almost constantly work with people, conditioning them, getting their energy to be grounded, healing their energy, healing them emotionally. Because the more your core energy becomes clear, the more natural it becomes to open up. Alright guys, this is Mike Colleen at MikeColleen.com. Click that subscribe button if you haven't already. There's a donation button down there in the description box. There's a PayPal link. You can donate money there if you like. Remember, click the like button, make a comment, and I'll see you guys in the next video. God bless you.